Probably the quietest lobby we've had on this TexAgs postgame wrap in a while. Nobody talking. This is the TexAgs postgame wrap brought to you by Alpha Paving in the Rollo Insurance Studio, where A&M falls 43-41 in the fourth overtime. A&M's first overtime game since the LSU game in 2018. A little bit on Alpha Paving, an award-winning paving contractor serving Texas, ready to deliver excellent customer service, meticulous project management, and quality workmanship for all of your asphalt and concrete needs. Their projects include retail, office, multifamily, industrial for notable clients like the Dallas Cowboys, H-E-B, and Graystar. Visit alphapaving.com and let them get to work for you. Guys, it just sucks. It sucks the way the game started. The hope that the Ags gave you felt great in the moment, and then it comes crashing down. Really, to me, comes down to a couple things. You couldn't stop Peyton Thorne, which is ridiculous considering he threw for, 40 yards last year. You couldn't stop Jarquez Hunter. And I think, if I remember correctly, Peyton Thorne on a 4th and 2 at the end of the game scrambles for, 23, 24 yards, and that set up the game-tying field goal. And that's where the game ends, in a game where you fell behind 21-0. The starts for A&M recently have not been good. You go to the Mississippi State game, they score on their opening drive, go up 7-0. The week after, you end up winning that game, obviously. The next week against LSU, you fall behind 10-0. The week after that, you take on South Carolina. You fall behind 14-0. This week on the road at Auburn, you fall behind 21-0 to come back, take the lead, have the lead late in the fourth quarter, only to give up a tying field goal, and then, of course, losing it there, unfortunately, for Amari Daniels, who I love that kid. He played hard. But it doesn't come up with the pass. Let's talk to our panel and get thoughts around the room. We got Brandon Leone with us, Chris Harrington and Chris Taylor. We'll start things off with Chris Taylor this evening. Chris, I'm not going to say your thoughts because I know all of our thoughts. It just sucks, right? But just, I guess, not emotions, just what happened.
Man, these are hard to swallow. I think you said it right. Nobody talks, when we normally come on and have conversations, but these are hard. And, as players, we feel for the guys that just played the game. But, like you said, I'm not sure what's going on with the starts. I mean, you look at, and you named them all, we've not started well, and we've played ourselves in a tough spot the last 3 weeks. And, you look at going back 2 weeks to South Carolina, giving up 44 points. And you look at tonight, we give up 43 points. And we've hung our hat on our defense. And, for whatever reason, we just haven't played well. And so, I don't want to sit here and there's enough blame to go around to everybody. And, you don't want to sit here and bash these guys. I know they feel awful, but this game is a game about making plays. And I thought you had some guys that played well, but you asked the question, where is Noah's having a monster game? How do we not get him back involved? Today, Walker's having a good game. How do we not get him back involved? And so some of those things you're asking on offense, where are those guys during the biggest moments of the game? I want to put the ball in their hands. And no knock on Amari. But if I'm going to throw the ball to 3, to 9, to 5, I'm probably going to 3 or 9 as I throw that football. Give Marcel, you have him in there for a reason, to utilize his legs and for him to be able to make plays and make those things happen off script. I don't think we put him in a position in the overtime periods to be able to do those things. And so, I don't know. When you look at this team and we look at the South Carolinas and you look at Auburn, those teams are getting better as the season goes on. And you look at the record, 4-6, but they've been in a lot of close games and they're playing hard and they're improving as a team. You look at South Carolina, the win against us propels them into the top 25 and they're on a roll and they're winning. And it feels like we're kind of going the other direction. It feels like we peaked or we read our press clippings against against LSU. And now we've kind of sputtered going down the stretch. But man, it's hard because there's so much hope and so much optimism around this program and what they've done up until this point. And to lose one like this is it's heartbreaking. And man, I don't know that I've seen Leone as dejected as I've seen him since we've been doing this show. And, you know, man, these things give me a heart attack. I don't know. It's hard to swallow this when a game we should have won. We come out, we sleepwalk, we get back in it. We should have won the game, and then we give up a late drive for them to come and tie. So I don't know. Now, we still got a chance. You got Texas next week. If you can't get up for that game and you come out and you play your guts out, you may not deserve to wear the maroon and white. You may need to turn your jersey in and find somewhere else to play. So we'll see what these guys are made of next week. Shouldn't be hard to get up for this one. You know, Texas comes to town. You renew the rivalry after a long time. So we'll see. But this one sucks bad.
Chris Harrington, the tackling. Again, an issue. Getting to the quarter, like Peyton Thorne is not Lenore Sellers. He broke away a few times. I mean, he's quick. We knew he was elusive at times. Defensively, I don't know what's happened to this defense because early on, I thought they were what their ranking said, right? The last couple of weeks, and I'm not going to count New Mexico State, the defense is good, but it's not the elite defense that we had seen.
Yeah. There was a lot of, big plays early, some busted coverages. And I don't understand it at this point in the season. They were taking shots downfield and guys were wide open, and that just can't be. And I'll have to go back and watch the game again. I don't understand how guys continue to get that wide open. And, but 4 or 5 big plays there in the first half, and now we're down 21-0. And, we jumped off sides. They take a shot, they get it down at the 1 yard line, easy score. That's self-inflicted wounds. But you got to give it to Auburn. They fought hard. They obviously came out ahead. But it's the little things. I saw a few times, defensive ends got to crash down. We got to make plays. We got to tackle better. And definitely, coverage in the secondary at times was suspect. Guys were wide open running down the field.
Brandon, I know you're dejected. You were tweeting quite a bit during the game. I was following your thoughts. I think you and I were on the exact same page throughout. I think this is going to feel weird saying out loud, so bear with me saying this out loud because we're coming off a loss, but I'm going to read you a tweet from Ross Dellinger. I don't know if you've seen this. The SEC confirms that Georgia has clinched a spot in the championship game. The Bulldogs will play the winner of Texas and Texas A&M. So I'm just saying, I don't even want to think that far ahead. I want to think about this. I don't want to think about this, actually. I can't wait till the postgame show's over. But I want to think about this. I want to think about Texas, and then whatever happens, happens. But apparently that is the case. If A&M beats Texas, they can still make it to the SEC championship game because they've got 2 losses in the SEC. But the way they played that first half, if they play that way against Texas, it ain't happening, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I want to focus on this game and the last away game, and really all of our away night games back until 2019. I think CT hit it on the head. I mean, it's frustrating to see these teams. It's frustrating to see these teams that I feel like we're more than capable of beating having their best games against us. Oh, they're trending up. South Carolina's trending up. Auburn, man, they've just missed it a few times this year, and every single time it seems like that's the storyline. We come up on the wrong side. And so, I just think it's disappointing. Obviously it's exciting that we still have an opportunity next week if we take care of business against the Longhorns. But, it's hard to have a ton of confidence going into that game based on our last 2 performances against Power 5 teams. I'm really proud of the way the guys fought back. That was a ton of resilience. I mean, we got 21-0 in the first quarter and came back, had the lead with less than 3 minutes to go. We just needed a first down. But, I think the thing to me that is concerning is these starts, right? In the beginning of the game, you had 3 missed tackles, 1 on 3rd down to get them off the field, an offsides penalty, again, an explosive play to put them, right down there inside our own red zone. It's the first time Auburn scored on the opening drive of the season. And so all these things that we let happen to us, you just wonder, what are we missing, like as a program, to have that killer instinct, to have that edge, to go and win when it matters. And I was so excited when we battled back, but that you don't want to single out any players today, because there was a ton of players that have plays that they wish they had back, and I can promise you the coaches will have some calls that they want to have back. I mean, why do you call timeout when the clock's running and Auburn's scrambling? You give them the time to get back to the drawing board and call another play. The substitution mishap we had in the second quarter that cost us a timeout. I mean, there's so many little basic things that we didn't get right. Drops, from not just Amari. I hate it for Amari Daniels. This dude's been put in a tough position, losing 2 5-stars in front of him, and everyone's going to remember the drop that he had when there was 15 to 20 times in the fourth quarter we had an opportunity to put this game away, and we should have never been down 21-0 in the first place. So, I don't want to tell you I'm super confident for next week, but I hope the guys are fired up. I'm sure they're sick tonight. If we're this sick, I know that they're more sick, but it's just hard. I love this program. I know we all do. That's why we're all dejected and frustrated. And, you give to the university as a player, and they gave a ton to me. They changed my life, and now I give back financially in different areas, and I want to see them succeed at such a high level. And so we all just care. All the fans care. I know the players care, but we've got to find a way to quit making excuses. Every time we put ourselves in a position as a program to take that next step, we hiccup. We screw it up. We drop the ball, whatever. Not Amari, just we drop the ball as a program. So I'm really, really hoping they can have a short memory tonight. Watch some film, get through it, and focus up for what's going to be, obviously a really, really big game. We got fortunate that OU took care of business today. Obviously, it was a crazy day around college football, but it sucks that I didn't go into today very confident, and I feel like that shouldn't be the case when they're 1-5 and we're 5-1. So it's just a tough night for the program.
CT, A&M has lost 11 of 14 road games. This year they go 2-2, which is obviously better than what we saw the last couple of years. But obviously when you go on the road and you play a South Carolina team that at the time wasn't ranked, and I know they're really good, I get it, and you go against an Auburn team that had only won one SEC game and hadn't, you got to win these road games, man.
Yeah. I mean, in both of those instances, you are the better football team. And in both of those games, 14-0 South Carolina, 21-0 Auburn. So, again, I don't know what has to happen to get off to faster starts. And I'm a little alarmed that our defense hasn't traveled. I'm not understanding what's going on, and we're not getting much pressure unless we're adding guys. You're adding guys to manufacture pressure. So, our front four, we talk about our defensive end so much. I don't know that we've even been close the last 2 road games. So we've had to add guys to the pressures to be able to get to the quarterbacks. And then when we get there, we're not getting them on the ground. So, man, these losses, you just have to try to find a way to flush them. I mean, you watch the tape, nobody's going to be happy from the tape. You lose another one that you're supposed to win, that you should win. And, now you got your rival coming into your backyard. So you've got to find a way to flush it. But, next week is the biggest game of the season. And, again, if these guys, if we can't get off and be ready to play in that game, man, we've got a long ways of program to go. So, man, it's just, I don't even know what to say tonight to this one. It's just, my mind is blown. But, great thing is we've got an opportunity to get into the SEC title game. We've just got to handle our business like we've been saying for the last 3 weeks.
A little note that was dropped to me, Chris Harrington. Auburn, 0 drops in the game. Obviously, A&M had a huge one. They had 3 overall.
Yeah. No, I know Theo would have loved to have that one back up the middle. That would have been a big play. It just figuring this out, winning on the road. But I'm really proud. I mean, when you look back at where the season started and the expectations to be in this position, and now with the way things have unfolded, with it coming down to the Texas game still, even after this loss, that makes me feel a little bit better. But I am proud of what they've done and accomplished. And you got to think this program, it's only going to get better. And that's kind of what we have to remember a little bit in this moment, as bad as it sucks, because we had it right there and they just made one more play. So,
Leone, it's you can't get optimistic. Look, I'm optimistic that Coach Elko is going to figure things out over time, but I felt like the opportunity that was here for A&M, for us, right? And I recognize that opportunity is technically still there, right? You can still technically get into the playoffs, right? And win a magical night at Kyle Field. Nobody's going to say that can't happen with this football team. But it was here, man. Like this game here, I think what hurts about it is it just feels like, here we go again. Like that's what it feels like, even though I know it's a different regime, different players, different. You follow what I'm saying?
No, 100%. I follow what you're saying. It's just same shit, different day, right? Excuse my language. I mean, that's what it feels like. And again, I think for me, the thing is, let's just go back to 99, maybe 97 when I started following the school. Obviously won the Big 12 in 98, had a good run in 99, but it just seems like, at least in the last 15 years, anytime we've put ourselves in a position, and whether it would be in the eyes of the media, the national spotlight, like for instance, this year when we put ourselves on top of the SEC, the only undefeated team left, we go 0-2. And two very winnable games. Now, yes, it's hard to play on SEC in the night or at night, but man, like we have to quit making excuses. We will literally never take that step as a program until we learn to win and play up to our potential, whether that be in the coaching booth, on the sidelines, or in between the white lines as a player. These missed opportunities will haunt this program forever. And we wonder why we miss on the Cam Colemans. Why do we miss on the Lagways? Why do we miss on some of these guys that come and torch us later on, that were committed to us or like us, because we climb up and we have these big elite experiences at Kyle Field, but we're just not consistent enough as a program to keep a ton of big dogs and to go win big games. And so why it hurts is because so many people pour so much money and energy and emotion back into this program, just like the players are. The players are pouring a ton, and the coaches, of energy and emotion into the program. But we got to quit making excuses, and like, golly, man, this is such a talented roster. Yes, losing Le'Veon Moss hurt. It was nice to see 71 back out there. But how many chances did we have tonight after battling back, being down after another garbage start, 21-0? How many chances in the fourth quarter did we have to put it away? We're running short side field options. It's like Coach Fran, the ghost of Coach Fran popped up in the booth for a few minutes. It's like, what are we doing? And we make the decision to start Marcel Reed at quarterback. My whole reason, again, as a fan that knows nothing, is like we put 10 in the game because he's a dynamic playmaker and can open the game with his legs. And he's throwing 40-something passes, And so I don't know what's going on, but I just know it's a huge missed opportunity. We're really just talking about tonight. I'm kind of also talking about South Carolina, because all you got to do is win one of those games on the road at night. And but like Harrington said, at the end of the day, as wild as it seems, Kyle Field will be absolute insanity next week. These guys have an opportunity to make everybody forget what's happened all year long if they go and win this game. But focusing on tonight, not looking ahead. Man, that one hurt. That one sucked. And I really, really, really wanted it for those guys. Not for me. I really wanted it for them to just flip the script on the narrative of we can't win when we're supposed to. We can't win a night game in the SEC. We always choke. Like, I wanted them to change that narrative. Not for me so I can go talk on Twitter or talk to buddies at work. For them, for the future of this program. So I'm truly hoping and praying that we can dial in next week, that we can get healthy, and that next week we can go and shock the world and beat the Longhorns.
So Bo on the chat asked, and I'll let CT answer this one, what team looks elite? And I get it. There are a lot of teams that look suspect. You can poke holes in Texas for the schedule, but Texas is winning these games, right? You can poke holes at Georgia for losing a couple games. It's not about who's elite. It's just that A&M isn't winning the games that could put them in another. Stratosphere is not even fair to say. It's just this win here. You still had to win next week, but it could have changed the trajectory of everything we've gone through the last few years.
Yeah, I'm just at a loss tonight. I'm sorry, guys. It's tough, but like you said, Nuno, it just win one. I mean, 4-6. Yes, they got talent. They've been close, but like you said, those elite teams, the Georgias, Alabama with Saban. You look at what Texas is doing this year. They win the games that they're supposed to. They don't let a night game on the road in the SEC. Those are not reasons that they go in and lose. I mean, you look at Georgia's schedule. They didn't have it easy. I mean, you look at the gauntlet that they had to go through, but they didn't make excuses. They buttoned their chin straps. They went and they played. They split, but you look at where they are to end the season. They're sitting waiting for either A&M or Texas in the SEC championship game. So, man, it's once this team and this, I think, is something that we talked about earlier this year, having that dog mentality. And even last week against New Mexico State, hang 70 on those guys. You've got to learn to have that killer instinct, have that killer mentality. I don't care who you play. That's why I love Steve Spurrier as a football coach. Steve Spurrier's mentality was, I'm going to put as many points on you as I possibly can, and it's your job to get better to stop us from scoring. And until we, I think, as a program, adopt that mentality and really, that's the approach that we take to every game. Not just let's just get through this game and win, but we want to blow you out and embarrass you. We're going to continue to struggle in these games. So, man, I'm sick for these guys. Short memory this week, but I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm going to stay optimistic for next week. I know what this game means to this program. I know what this game means just to this rivalry. And, I'm hoping to see an A&M team come out and fight like their lives depend on it. So,
Brandon and Harrington, I'll let you guys close it out with the last couple of thoughts just on what's still potentially possible, but also trying to stomach what happened tonight. Harrington, you start us off.
Well, it's a really hard thing to change a culture. And I think Mike Elko's done a great job. I mean, if we think back to the early season, we were leaning heavily on the running game and Le'Veon and our defense and squeaking out wins. Le'Veon goes down. It was great to see Noah Thomas step up as wide receiver number 1, and then Ja'Day Walker is number 2. That's something that we haven't seen consistently. I think we're going to see Marcel. I think we've seen him mature a little bit, but still show signs of being a freshman with 6 starts under his belt. So that's reality. And Amari Daniels is he's not a big enough, durable enough, powerful enough back to lean on him like we did with Le'Veon. So I'm encouraged by some of the things I've seen this season. We're all disappointed because it was right here in front of us, but don't think that that's not going to fuel them into this end of the season, this last home game, and then through the offseason. I think we're just going to continue to make strides. I trust Elko with that. I'm very pleased with what he's done so far. The team's competing. I mean, this wasn't a blowout. It wasn't. It was a super close game in 4 overtimes. So the guys fought and they fought to the end. Give them another year, and I think we'll see these things turn around. I think they've made tremendous progress this season, and I'm excited to be in College Station next weekend for the game. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere, and like you said, I mean, you told us it's still there. It's still there in front of us. And you get the 12th man involved, and that defense looks a little different. So,
Leone, it's still there. Doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it because we care so much, but the reality is that it's still there. And we're literally a different team at Kyle Field. I think we've shown that this year. And Notre Dame, first game of the season, new system, new coach. that one is what it was. But since then, we've done a great job defending Kyle Field. So ultimately, man, I hope that the players and the coaches ignore all the stuff that we're saying, ignore all the stuff the media is saying. I hope that the players rally around Amari and Theo, that they realize that at the end of the day, this is a sport, and in life, it really isn't how you respond to things in victory. It's how you respond to your shortcomings. It's how you respond to your losses. I mean, you can listen to Tom Brady, LeBron James, Jordan, all these different great athletes, and all of them always talk about they learn the most in difficult times and difficult seasons. And really, man, a lot of it comes down to, your approach mentally to the football game. It's a 0-0 season at this point because Oklahoma took care of business and beat Alabama. This team, Coach Elko, Coach Klein, Coach Bateman, they still have an opportunity to play in the SEC championship game in year one. We have not been in that position in a long time. So I pray that they all get home safe tonight on the flight. They watch film, they break it down, they flush it down the toilet, they get their eyes focused. And I hope that all the 12 men shows up next week, brings a lot of noise, a lot of energy. And, man, maybe they can shock the world and surprise us and go out there and have a big win. So I'm hoping these guys can keep some perspective, realize that, crazily enough, as wild as today's been across college football, man, with so many top 15 teams losing, that we still have a shot, man. So I hope they stay positive. I hope they stay encouraged, and I hope they're not as pissed off as we are, and that they can focus and move on, man, because I'm sick right now.
I'm soft. Man, I'm soft right now.
Well,
Yeah.
Imagine what the vibe of this post-game wrap would have been had the 21-0 game continued the way it was going. It would have probably been a better vibe than it is right now. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes. My gosh.
Because that would have sucked, but we would have been done with it 3 hours ago, right? But they came back and they took the lead, and we believed. And I don't know. Gentlemen, thank you. Hope to see you guys next week here in College Station for a playoff game to go to a SEC championship game.
Yes, sir.
I laugh because I'm like, it's still possible because they've lost 2 games in the SEC. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate everyone for watching the TexAgs post-game wrap. Yes, not the game we expected, 43-41 in the quadruple overtime. Auburn takes it. We'll see everybody on the Luchador podcast tomorrow, and, of course, TexAgs Live on Monday morning. And thank you, of course, to Alpha Paving. See you next time.